Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video via social media and with your friends via email. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Is there a financial crisis in America for many who are struggling with negative real wages due to inflation? Well, I read an interesting article today that may answer this. This article was on thestreet.com, written by Todd Campbell, entitled, "Millennials Face This Frightening Reality." According to the author, inflation has been busting all budgets, but something worse has put millions of millennials in the financial hot seat. What happens in the coming year could be critical to whether younger Americans can make ends meet or suffer a financial reckoning. Well, this sounds very ominous in my opinion. But I'm not surprised because people across all generations have been impacted by inflation in recent years. Some are doing better than others. Those who own assets are probably doing the best because many of those assets have risen in value in recent years. For those of you who may have been living on the moon for the past few years, the CPI was up more than 9% year over year in 2022, but softened to 3.7% this September. The author of this article references the Bureau of Labor Statistics as indicating real wages or pay minus inflation are negative, so households are still losing ground. This author goes on to explain how this is impacting the millennial generation in a really bad way. Given that higher costs are still outpacing paychecks, millennials are forced to tap savings or even worse, credit cards to make up the difference. Unfortunately, much of the savings they stashed from stimulus payments during the COVID lockdowns has already been spent. As a result, credit cards are increasingly doing the heavy lifting. But the reality is that those mounting credit card balances have put millennials in the worst financial shape of any generation. Well, I truly feel bad for millennials and anyone else who is in this situation. I understand that life is very expensive, and at times it can almost seem unmanageable, especially when your real wages are less than they were a few years ago. Here's my opinion. You can sit around and be depressed about it, or you can look for ways to change your situation. You could leverage your strong work history and skill set and find a new employer who may be willing to pay you more. You could end up with a better job that pays more and life could potentially improve. You could also stay at your existing job and look for ways to bring in additional income on the side with a part-time job or starting a small business. Of course, you would want to make sure that your employer does not have some type of conflict of commitment policy that could potentially prevent you from doing that. Bringing in additional income might be one way to improve your financial situation. Another option is to look for ways to live beneath your means. However, this could potentially make you feel worse. If you are someone living like a hermit in a rundown apartment who never does anything except go to work, this may not be good for your mental health in the long run. But it is always an option. This is certainly not an option that I would endorse though. I personally am a fan of working hard to acquire assets that provide a financial return so that you can make money while you sleep. Warren Buffett is famous for saying, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. In my opinion, that is a little intense. You will likely work until you draw Social Security someday. However, if you had a modest income during your working years, you may only receive a small Social Security benefit that may not be enough to live on once you reach retirement age. For someone like this, you may still need to work part-time during retirement to sustain yourself. That is the reality for many everyday Americans these days. The average Social Security check in 2023 is $1,825. Try living off that amount of money in some large cities, especially if you are a renter. Unfortunately, many millennials are not doing any of the things that I previously mentioned to get a handle on their personal financial situation. Instead, they are relying on credit cards. The author of this article references the New York Fed's quarterly report on household debt and credit, which revealed that millennials, whom the Fed defines as those born 1980 to 1994, are struggling the most to make increasingly larger credit card payments. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a bad situation. Since the Federal Reserve has hiked their Fed funds rate 11 times, the amount of interest being charged by credit card companies is very high. Many consumers are paying anywhere between the low 20% range to the low 30% range. Debt can spiral out of control very quickly at these levels. Some everyday Americans may find themselves in a situation where this simply becomes unmanageable. Bankruptcy may be one of the only options that some people have. As per the author of this article, these higher rates on bigger balances are driving increasingly more millennials behind on their payments. Well, I get it. Many millennials are dealing with sky-high rent, large vehicle loan payments, student loan payments, the high cost of food at the grocery store, expensive medical care, and those with children probably don't know what hit them. Children are incredibly expensive, and as they get older, they become even more expensive. There is rarely happily ever after in life, which has been portrayed in some Disney movies. Those are movies and not reality for most people. Not everyone gets to marry royalty and live in a castle. Many live in an overpriced apartment at the mercy of a landlord who could raise the rent for the next lease term, and many people work at a job where their real wages are eroding due to inflation. That is reality here in the United States of America for many everyday people. Life in this country can be very tough at times. I think some people need to come to grips with the reality that it may not get better anytime soon. I read an article today on foxbusiness.com written by Aislinn Murphy titled, "Target's in an Ironic Twist, Locking Up Pair of Thieves Undies Due to Chronic Theft." According to the author, Target had Pair of Thieves and other men's underwear brands under lock and key at a New York store, a seeming irony as the national retailer continues to deal with theft. Ladies and gentlemen, prior to reading this article, I had never heard of the underwear brand called Pair of Thieves. I buy inexpensive underwear at Walmart and generally wear it until the fabric begins to develop holes after many years of use. I am just so committed to living frugally and investing my money in assets that provide a financial return that I literally wear my underwear until the fabric gets so thin that holes develop. It's not that I can't afford new underwear. It's that living frugally is like a game to me. I like to see how long I can use things before they completely wear out. As many of you know, I still am driving my 2004 Toyota Camry with nearly 400,000 miles on it. I could write a check for a new car, but I don't want to do that. It is fun for me to see how long I can keep my car on the road. I also like to watch my assets increase in value. I didn't come from money. I had to work some very tough jobs earlier in life, and I had to make a lot of personal sacrifices to now have financial security and financial independence. I value every dollar more than some people do. I'm kind of like those people who lived through the Great Depression. They experienced how hard times were financially, and later in life, when they had money, they still pinched pennies. I probably take it to the extreme in my life at times, but that's just how I am. In a way, I'm kind of like George Bailey's father in the Wonderful Life movie. I thought I'd mention that movie since we are going to be entering the holiday season soon, and many people watch that movie during the holidays. In that movie, George Bailey's father tells George that he had hoped he'd stay in Bedford Falls to take over the building and loan, and George replies, "Oh, now, Pop, I couldn't do it. I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in a shabby little office." "Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. I didn't mean it like that. But this business of nickels and dimes and spending all your life trying to figure out how to save 3 cents on a length of pipe, I'd go crazy. I want to do something big. I want to do something important." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've spent most of my life trying to figure out how to save 3 cents on a length of pipe. It hasn't been glamorous or exciting. In my opinion, sometimes doing something boring and stable that allows you to live frugally and invest money and grow your net worth is less risky than doing something big and something important. How many people move to the big city in an attempt to strike it rich as an actor and never end up doing that? Many waste prime working years of their life when they could have been investing for the future. Now, some get lucky, and there are some others who are truly talented and they make their dream come to fruition, but many fail. Back on July 17, 2009, President Obama hinted at what I'm talking about when he said, and I'll quote, "But our kids can't all aspire to be LeBron or Lil Wayne. I want them aspiring to be scientists and engineers, doctors and teachers, not just ballers and rappers. I want them aspiring to be a Supreme Court justice." In my opinion, sometimes those who shoot for the moon never make it, and then they end up with no other plan and struggle financially. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from pursuing their dreams, but there are certain career aspirations where the odds are stacked against you. So let me ask you this. When some people strike out and end up with no other plan and they are struggling financially, are these the people who are stealing underwear? I'm not implying they are. I'm just asking you a question and wondering if this is a possibility. I mean, some people work for these organized crime rings. It's not AI robots that are stealing this underwear from Target. These are living, breathing humans involved with this theft. How did they get to the point in their life where underwear theft became their source of income as part of some organized crime ring? I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding all of this in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video via social media or via email with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.